Alright, in this lesson I'm going to demonstrate how to take your primitives and use the edit polygon modifier to add more details to them. So for this I'm going to, an example, so I have a picture of the Empire State Building on my other monitor. So I'm going to quickly create a base which looks like that is pretty good. I'm going to center it. And so from here, this again is just a basic box primitive. Let's change the color. It's not as distracting. Alright. So when you create a primitive, you have the option of adding subdivisions, and to see those you have to turn on edged faces. So you can add subdivisions as you need to. Now the thing with this is you can always add subdivisions later, but it's a lot harder to take them out. So I would start with as little or as few polygons as you can, because I mean, if those of you who are familiar with the gaming industry, polygon count, meaning how many polygons your object is, can really affect how the object is used. Obviously, if it has a much higher polygon count, it's really hard on your system to manage. So kind of being efficient in how you use them will really kind of save you a headache later. So from here, actually, let's make this a little, there. So from here, we're just going to go down to the modifier list and go to edit polygon. And the first thing, and you see a lot more options kind of pop up to you. First thing I want to point out is selection. You can select vertices, which are points, edges, which are lines, and polygons, which will be, I guess depending on your object, just a flat surface. So you can also select entire objects, but we're going to need to be a bit more specific than that. So obviously the Empire State Building is not a box. It more resembles a stack of boxes. So I'm going to first show you how to use the inset function. So let's kind of zoom in here. So now you have two options with any of these things under edit polygons. You can either click on the name, which if you click and drag will kind of apply it, or you can click the settings thing by it, which will allow you to kind of make some adjustments manually. There's not really many for inset, and then you just hit the check mark to hit OK or cancel. The good thing about using this mode is it'll remember the last one you used, so if you need to reuse it, it really helps. So now that I did that, that kind of created, while maintaining the integrity of the shape, it kind of made a polygon inside it. And you see that it created four-sided polygons on each side. Your end goal is to kind of keep as many four-sided polygons as you can. If you go beyond that, it can lead to some pinching and stretching on your model. It also helps when it comes time to use texture maps. So the next thing I want to do is use the extrude, which again you can do one of two ways. So I'm just going to take this one, and I'm going to, and even after you do it a little bit, you don't have to keep pushing it. You can actually, once you do it once, you can just hit move and then move that exactly where you want it to be. And as you saw before, you can also, let's go back up to extrude. If I click extrude, I can also go down, so that also is an option. So, but we're going up for this one, so let's get that back into place. And then I have to do that a few more times to kind of I'm gonna move fast here so we're not spending too much time on this stuff. And now the top piece is a cylinder, so I would just make that a separate object right now. Great thing about this is that you see here in the modifier list, what a modifier does is it modifies that specific geometry. So if I turn that off, you see it just goes back to that box. For my example, it doesn't quite work because I'm using one box to create everything. You guys already started with boxes and can kind of go and refine those. So being able to go back to the original box will probably be more beneficial for you. For me, it's going to take me back way to the beginning, so it's not really beneficial to me. So you know, that kind of shows you how to use the inset and extrude functions. Now, a lot of the things you're going to be doing to your objects aren't going to be as straightforward. So, like, say for example, there's basically a piece of the Empire State Building that kind of gets cut out here, and I need to extrude it out. So to do that, first I need to create some lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select an edge, and then I'm going to click ring, which basically selects any polygons in that specific piece of geometry that are parallel to it. So it basically forms essentially a ring. Think about like a tire. So if you clicked on a perpendicular to on the actual tire tread, it would select all of them around the tire. So why I use this is then I can use this function called connect. Let's actually use the settings, because then I can create a subdivision here. I can also make more than one and move them closer together, and up and down, but I only need one, so I'm going to put it right about there. And then even after you do that, you know, you can actually move it up and down as you need to, so don't worry if you didn't get it perfect the first time. Now I'm actually going to I want to create some the opposite way, but I don't want them. See, if I click on an edge and hit ring, it's going to select, oops, let's do it again. So it's going to select all of them, and I don't really want to affect that many. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go to this view here, and I'm going to select these polygons, and I only want that bottom, so I'm going to Alt select these to kind of get rid of them. So what I want is just that bottom piece, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to detach. So what that did is it made it a separate object, right? If I want to combine them, I would just do the opposite, hit attach, click on the other thing, and now they are all the same object. So that being said, so now when I click on here and I go to ring and connect, you see that it stops right there. So let's make two and put them right about there. So you can see that it's also doing that on the opposite side as well, which is good. So now I can take these two faces and I'm going to extrude them, because as if you've seen the Empire State Building, it's got those pieces that kind of stick out. So along with that, there's also a piece here that's kind of pushed in, so I'm just going to select a ring, connect them with the menu. They're actually closer together, so I'm going to go right about there, and I need to select these, and I'm going to, actually I can do these both at once, so we'll do that. I will extrude. Now this is where you have to be careful. You want to stay in group, because if you go to any of these other ones, it can get a bit confusing, so stay in group when in doubt. So I'm just going to kind of push those in, and actually you can see that it's causing some issues up here. So what I'm going to do instead is, and as long as you have this settings menu up, you can, it's just based on what you have selected, so that's why you see it kind of popping out there. Let's do that. And let's move it in so it's right in line with that. Hit OK. So now I want to hide this so I can kind of work on this one right here. So I can delete these because that's where I'm running into some issues. And now I can use, I'm going to use bridge to select these edges and draw. Ooh. And this is where I am running into some issues here. Let's save this first of all, just in case I crash. What I wanted to show you is that you can use, actually I can show you over here. Let's say that I accidentally deleted this polygon, right? I can use bridge to select two edges. Man, you really doesn't want to cooperate with me today, do you? Did not. Let's see if I can find another face that it should work on. So bridge should allow me to click on two edges. It should connect two faces equally, so let's just try from the top since I didn't do too much. There we go. That's how it's supposed to behave, where it just creates a clean bridge between two. What I'm guessing is that there's some deeper lying issues, like I might have created an extra edge in here somewhere. But there's other ways you can connect two faces. So like, let's say I hit Shift while holding out an edge, it'll actually extend that. Then I can go to vertex mode and target weld. Now it looks like the issue is here. So let's try to bridge. Let's try to target weld again. So it's clicked on the first point and the second point. Okay, see, so we're working now. And then I can bridge that back. So you just kind of have to find your way around because there is a small chance that you maybe made some small miscalculation like I did where things don't quite line up. So just so you can go in and rebuild what geometry you're having issues with. So I'm going to bring that piece back. Now the other question you guys had was about creating windows. Creating windows is going to be exactly the same way as we kind of created these changes down here. But you know, if you're working with skyscrapers, you can kind of do everything at once. So let's select this part here, and I'm just going to select this ring, and then I'm going to hit connect. So now I can make as many segments as, you know, stories that I want. So like looking here, I see one. Actually, I'm not going to take the time to count how many there are on the Empire State Building. But let's just make 25. And then I'm just going to stretch them out a little bit. And set this to 0 so it's centered. Let's make more. And I'm just hit OK. You know what? Let's detach this part right here, just so we can focus on that one area. So detach. All right. So now I can do this, select rings, and then hit connect. And now we'll turn this down to, I don't know, let's say 10. So now you can see I made a bunch of little squares. Now what from here, I can actually just start selecting these. And if you remember, with inset, if I have it set to group, let's move this over here. You can see that it kind of used those all the polygons you selected in mind. But here I could actually change to by polygon, and it'll affect individual windows. So I can actually just kind of add them in as needed. And then I can just go to either extrude to kind of pull them in, or if you guys were talking about like door frame or window frames, so what you could do is kind of combine some of the stuff we covered here, and pull it out first, then inset, and then extrude down, and that will create kind of a framework to build your windows on. So that's basically it. I mean, with those functions, again, that's using the ring and loop selection modes, using extrude, inset, attach and detach, target weld. Using these are what are going to really allow you to take the buildings you created out of primitives and make them even more unique.